So deep. Okay. So now can you
We
see
can
me?
see you now. Yes, we can see you.
That's one. Namaste and a warm welcome to yet another episode of the show. The show which we started in October 2021. It's been more than 3 years, and believe me, it's been an incredible journey for me, and then subsequently Vardhan joined, for Vardhan also, and for all the guests that we had on the show so far. So let me quickly get into the groove, and first of all, let me introduce to you uh, the moderator of the evening, that is Vardhan Dharkar for you. Uh, yeah, so today he has shifted his place and location, and the calendar that you see behind him is actually consists of photographs that Vardhan has clicked.
Oh,
Thank you.
And I'm so privileged to have had one copy of that calendar. Uh, and the interesting thing about this calendar is that it does not run from January to December. It runs from I think March or April to
April to March.
April to
April
March.
to March.
So it's a financial year, but also it means that I don't have to worry about the next year's calendar for at least the first 2 or 3 months. So that's and
He follows Hindu calendar.
Vardhan is a multifaceted personality, and he is a former CFO. He is he's a chartered accountant, and he is learning Sanskrit, and he is into epics. He writes blogs. He hosts the episodes of the show. So really good to have you with us, Vardhan.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now let me introduce to you the guest for the evening, another great personality. That's Monica Singh for you. Let me read out
Namaste,
her.
Sanjay ji. Namaste, Vardhan
Namaste,
ji.
Monica. Namaste. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you with us. So let me read out the introduction of Monica. Monica is a voracious book dragon, a scientist turned storyteller. She exchanged Bunsen burners and beakers for the allure of the written word. Her work explores the messy realities of life. She is a firm believer in the magic of stories to pull you through anything and hopes her words offer comfort and escape to her readers. Pronounced Guilty is her first full length novel that delves into the underbelly of the Indian criminal justice system, exploring themes of criminality, justice, and redemption. And Monica is not a lawyer. The first few lines itself would have shown you that she is not a lawyer. And yet she has delved into the first book, which is Pronounced Guilty. So now I'll move out of the frame and leave the proceedings to Vardhan and Monica to take this forward. Over to you, Monica and Vardhan.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for your warm introduction. And welcome and namaste to all our viewers in Bharat and outside of Bharat. Welcome to yet another edition of the show. And welcome to Monica Singh also. Thank you for agreeing to come on our show. And today's episode is very special because it's an episode which is happening in the week which has seen the largest gathering of humanity in India or anywhere in the world, the Mahakumbh. So, my greetings to everyone on that occasion. And let's now begin our show.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I just want to take a moment to say hi to my friends who have joined. Hi, Aparna, Rashmi, Vani, thank you for joining. Sangeeta, hello. I don't know the gentleman, उनका नाम नहीं नजर आ रहा है. आप अपना नाम chat में डाल दीजिए. Hello, thank you for joining.
Perfect. So let's now start. So from being a scientist working in a pharma industry to the author, somebody who was treating the or healing the bodies to healing the mind. This is a quite a transformative journey. So maybe we would love to know more about it from you. How this happened, how this shift happened.
Oh, this shift was actually a long time in coming. I have been a reader most of my life. Like I started reading books when I was 9 years old, and books actually came to my rescue. Like I was a very lonely child, and it was through books that I experienced, the world outside and the world of possibilities of change. So when I was that little, I had decided that, one day I will also write a book, and I will also, have readers who will read my book, and they will reach out to me and they will tell me that, I connected with your characters and I resonated with your story. So that was a dream that I had when I was 9, 10, 11 years old. And then, of course, life happened, and I studied pharmaceutical chemistry from Bombay College of Pharmacy. I graduated with distinction, and then I joined a pharma company. My first job was at a pharma company as a research student, and I did organic chemistry and drug synthesis. We used to develop new molecules of drugs, active ingredients to be formulated into tablets, into syrups, into all kinds of formulations. So I worked in the pharma for 5 years, and then of course COVID happened, and like it has happened for so many people. Pandemic years were a sort of second coming for me, and I decided that okay, अब नहीं dream pursue किया तो फिर तो कभी नहीं होगा. This is the moment that I need to seize the chance and write that book. So I thought, okay, I'll take 1 year, I'll write a book and see कि क्या reception होता है. I'll learn about my craft. So I left my job in 2020, in August 2020, and then I started writing. तो जब पहली बार लिखना स्टार्ट किया तो इट वाज लाइक कि हमें पता ही नहीं है कि लिखना कैसे है. We don't know anything about story writing. So I joined a lot of writing groups online. And because everything was happening online, so that became a sort of avenue for me. I had this writing community called Penmancy on Facebook. जहाँ पे I started writing stories, I started getting feedback from other authors and other writers. That's how I improved. And slowly, things happened and I started writing more and more. Yeah, so that's the story.
Perfect. Sounds very interesting. And if I understood correctly, your first book was The Pause. Is that correct?
Yes. That was it is a novella. It is a collection of 7 short stories. That was the first one that I wrote, and I actually did manage to write it within 1 year of leaving my job. So that was a very proud moment for me that okay, जो मैंने सोचा था, वो किया है. So a collection of short stories based on real life incidents, fictionalized हैं, and they deal with COVID in some way, but they also deal with life. They deal with domestic violence, grief, pain, and hope. So all of these stories are connected in that way, and it got a really good response from readers. मतलब मुझे ऐसे लग रहा था everybody was reaching out to me and telling me इतना इतना they connected with those stories. And I was like, okay, ठीक है, purpose achieved. I can write. That was sort of a validation I got.
So, what was the best compliment that you received for that book?
Uh, pause के लिए I think. There's a story, the second or third story, जिसमें it's called Thursday's Adventures, and there is another story in it called Tangerine. So Thursday's Adventure में it's a story about a little girl. She's very alone and she finds her respite in books, much like myself, and वो grow करती है कैसे books उसको अपने अपने pain में से बाहर निकालते हैं. So I got a really good response for that story, and उसमें मैंने एक technique use किया था where I had written the meaning of words from dictionary, like loneliness. What does it mean in Oxford Dictionary? तो जब हम छोटे थे तो we used to always refer to these Oxford Dictionary, Cambridge Dictionary. But अब तो you get meaning on Google, so nobody refers to that dictionary. So I had used that technique, and people had really loved how those words had come in between the story, and how, because I think the art of referring to a dictionary itself is something, that people don't know about, the younger generation don't know about. So I think that was one of the best compliments that I get for that story. Yeah.
Perfect. That sounds very interesting. And this is a very novel idea of giving a meaning, because this I have not seen anywhere anybody else doing that, at least not in my knowledge. Perfect. Now, coming to your second book, the latest book, and as Sanjay mentioned that you are not a lawyer and you are a scientist. So, how did you go about doing a research for this particular book, the
This is
pronounced
the book,
guilty?
Pronounced
Pronounced
Guilty. This is
guilty.
my latest
Yes.
book, yes. And I think, the most difficult part of writing this book was the legal jargon. Because I am from the science background, I had no idea, courts कैसे run करते हैं, lawyers कैसे एक दूसरे से बात करते हैं. So I had no idea. My extent of knowledge about lawyers, about courts was Jolly LLB. That was the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah.
कि हाँ, Jolly LLB में ऐसे बात करते हैं तो वैसे ही होता होगा. But yeah, so it took me 1 year to kind of go through a lot of different books written by other authors, and a lot of different research material and articles जो either government websites पे मुझे मिले या फिर लोगों की thesis थी. So I went through a lot of non-fiction academic books and legal transcripts of court cases, and that's how I just kind of familiarized myself with the jargon. Ki, okay, this is how they speak. But even then, the impact of movies is so much that मेरा जो first draft था manuscript का, उसमें इतना ज़्यादा I had used your honor, my lord, इतना ज़्यादा use किया था मैंने. And then one of my friends who has been to a Supreme Court, she said, Sangeeta, in fact, she's here. She said that, okay, they don't use your honor so much, they just say sir or madam these days. They don't use your honor so much. I was like, okay, ठीक है. तो फिर then I corrected that. So yeah, that was the most difficult part, the legal jargon, to get that right. Because when readers are reading it, it should not sound कि अरे ये तो कुछ भी लिखा है करके. It should be authentic. It should be believable and relatable. So a lot of research went into it. One of the books that I actually read, which helped a lot, was Black Warrant by Sunil Gupta and Sunetra Chaudhary. आपने I think many of you must be aware of अभी the recent show that has come on Netflix, Black Warrant करके. It has been adapted from the book that I used for research for my book, and it was one of the most crucial aspects of writing my book. उन्होंने तिहाड़ जेल में जो prisoners हैं उनके बारे में लिखा हुआ है, and that was something that really helped me.
Okay. But my first question to you is that why did you select this topic or this subject about ex-convicts and convicts and open prison for them? This is something which is completely different. I wouldn't have expected that from you, having a background which is completely different.
Yes, yes. It was actually I was watching a show. It's an American TV show called House. It's a medical drama, and उसमें एक episode था जिसमें there is a very small boy who is going to die unless he receives a blood transfusion of a particular group, and the only person who is able to give that blood to him is a convicted criminal, and he is in the hospital at that point of time, and he is going to be executed in a few months, and that's his last wish. That his last wish is that he can give his organs or he can give his blood to this boy so that this boy can live. And उसमें वो scene है जिसमें this little boy is fighting, he's fighting tooth and nail कि I don't want this person's blood because this man is a criminal. If I take his blood, I will also become a criminal. So इतना है कि I would rather die. So that scene just kind of left a really, really deep impact on me. कि इतना extent तक है कि we are not even willing to take their organs or their blood so that another person can live. So that was something that triggered कि okay, if this is happening in America, India में क्या हो रहा है? What are the rules that we have for convicted criminals in India. And then मेरा वो research mode on हो गया, and then I went on a lot of research. So that was one aspect. Another aspect of it was very personal. My father has served in the Indian Navy all his life, and he retired in 2019. So when he retired, it was very difficult for him to transition from a defense life to civilian life, जैसा हम बोलते हैं. तो उनको नहीं पता था कि मतलब नॉर्मल लाइफ कैसे फंक्शन करती है, because he is used to that defense life. So I asked him that, did you not receive any kind of training, or did you not receive any kind of psychological support to help you transition from that life to this life? So he said कि नहीं, there is no such psychological support available to defense veterans in India. ट्रेनिंग देते हैं, पैसे देते हैं, पेंशन देते हैं, सब देते हैं, बट थेरेपी इज नॉट देयर. So it just made me think कि अगर people from the army, from the navy who are doing it for a cause, उनकी ये हालत है कि उनको पता नहीं है कि सोसाइटी में कैसे रहना है, नॉर्मल लाइफ कैसे जीनी है. So what would happen with criminals which are removed from the society for 3 years, 4 years, or probably 14 years? उनको आप रिलीज करते हैं, उनको क्या पता कि सोसाइटी में कैसे रहना है. And we are punishing them, but are we doing something to help them reintegrate into the society? So that was something that just kind of boiled over, and then this book happened.
That's very thoughtful of you, and really something which all of us need to address, because this is something which is very important. Otherwise, they will go back to their old habits. So maybe if you can talk about this book, who are the main protagonists in the book, and briefly, if you can talk about the story.
Right. So there are four main protagonists in this book. There is advocate Dushyant Dave. There is Vijender Singh. He is an ex-convict. वो convicted criminal है, and he is looking for a second chance at life. And there is advocate Maitri Shinde, who is in opposition to Dushyant Dave. And there is Dr. Anusuya Savarkar, जो एक psychotherapist है. And so these are the four main characters, and the story is basically focused around them and their backstories and their past traumas. So all of them have an agenda with which they are working. Vijender Singh wants redemption. He wants a second chance at life. Dushyant Dave, advocate Dushyant Dave, is the one who takes his case, and he files a petition in the court saying that convicted criminals के लिए हमें open prisons बनाने चाहिए, so that they can transition from criminal life to normal life. And Maitri Shinde is the opposing lawyer. She is like, इतना पैसा कहाँ से आएगा? Where are the resources to build open prisons for these people? ये तो criminals हैं. Innocent लोगों के लिए हम पैसा खर्च करें या इनके लिए पैसा खर्च करें? And Anusuya is again, she's dealing with the loss of her husband, and uska, she's just not able to reconcile, because she's a therapist. She's involved in this project that Dushyant Dave is building, and she's not able to reconcile whether she should help these people or not. So that's the basic gist of it, and they help to formulate this institution called as Bandi Mukti Morcha, and that's how they bring in convicted criminals into this institution, and things happen, and how their mission fails or succeeds. For that you have to read the book.
Very interesting, very interesting. I think this is something which our audience should definitely read. Maybe if you can read a passage from the book.
I have to search now for a passage. All right. Okay, this is very difficult to pick a passage from this.
Life is never easy.
Okay, I'll just read like a few lines from the first preliminary hearing that happens. This is happening in the court, and all of these people are there. And preliminary hearing हो रही है for Bandi Mukti Morcha, where Dushyant Dave is presenting his case to the district court. Okay. So petitioners, the judge is saying, Justice Chaudhary says, petitioners counsel, you may begin. Dushyant shook off his reveries and stood up, placing both his hands on the table to stop his trembling knees from giving way under him. He cleared his throat. Thank you, Your Honors. I am Advocate Dushyant Dave, here with my legal assistant and a few other representatives of my many clients. Today, on behalf of my clients, the countless ex convicts struggling to find a place in our society, it is my privilege to present this PIL before this honorable court. Sirs and madam, one of the most fundamental principles of a reformative penal system is to ensure that punishment must be able to reform the guilty and make them capable of returning to the society as its functional member. The ultimate objective of prison administration is reformation and rehabilitation of offenders. A person in prison does not become a non person. A person in prison is entitled to all the human rights within the limitations of imprisonment. There is no justification in aggravating the suffering already inherent in the process of incarceration.
Perfect, perfect. I think that will really prompt the viewers to buy and read the book. They will find it very interesting. So you also, apart from being a writer and an author, you also are an editor. You edit a magazine and you help other authors edit their books. So how did you think about this particular aspect? Why did you think about being an editor?
Editing actually came to me after writing my first novella. When I was done with writing The Pause, after that, I got an opportunity to edit some academic books for children, first to fifth standard. And I realized while I was doing that assignment that I actually enjoyed editing so much more than writing. And I
Mhm.
worked on that project for 1 year. I was correcting children's books and making course curriculum with our team. And after that 1 year, I just realized that editing is something so much more fun than writing. Writing is a very lonely job. Although I enjoy writing as well, but editing just came to me as a serendipity, jaisa, and then I latched onto it. I learned a lot about it during that 1 year and afterwards also. And it just became something that I would return to, whenever I was not writing. I would go
Mhm.
to editing, and I would ask my friends, if you have any stories, you can give it to me, I will edit them. So that's how it started. And then I've recently monetized it, and I've recently started taking more clients for fiction as well as non-fiction. And it's just so much fun. It's so much fun.
Very interesting. So maybe if you can just talk about what are the skill sets that you require to become a good editor.
Skill sets, unfortunately, I think there is no professional course as such that that you can do like pharma karna hai, so you can do 4 years of pharma or engineering. There's no professional course as such that you can do to become an editor. It just happens over time with experience. Of course, other things help if you have learned the language, if you have learned English in your college, in your schools, that helps. And I think for me, because I came from a science background, I did not even come from an English background. कि मैंने literature पढ़ा है, and I know the language that well. So for me, it was all practice. It was all practice, like starting from short stories to novellas to books and fiction, non-fiction. I practiced a lot, and that's how I learned my skills. Of course, there are many courses available online also that people can take advantage of.
Mhm.
But for me, it was all practice. So I would say the skills that you need are like a very keen eye to observe the errors that are there and an understanding of the language. I think those are the two most basic skills that you need. Other than that, practice. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So how important it is for anyone to have a good editor to edit his book?
Very, very important, very important. I'll give you my example. While I am also an editor, this book went to my editor Indrani Ganguly, and she actually found errors that I had completely missed or overlooked. And she has been working as an editor for more than 20 years. So that's the expertise that she brought to my book. And I was really, really glad that, she was able to do justice to my plot and to my book, because I would not have seen those errors that she pointed out. And it was a huge learning experience for me as an editor as well. So yes, very, very important to have a really, really good editor. And Indrani has done a fabulous job with this book, because otherwise this book would have been double its size. It was so huge, and she cut it down to this much without impacting the plot, without impacting anything else.
Perfect. Very good. So that means that all those budding authors who are watching the show, maybe they should get in touch with you, so that they also have a very successful book.
Yes, yes, do get in touch with me. I'm really good, if I say so myself. Yes.
Good. So there is one question I wanted to ask you. I was looking at your social media platforms, and there you have talked about mental health and well-being. So I just that is something which now I think more and more people are willing to talk and discuss the problems that they faced and the journey they took to overcome it. So I don't want to get into that aspect, but I just wanted to know from you is that what is it that we as individuals and society should do to address this particular challenge that society is facing?
I would say that in my experience, what has happened in the past 3 or 4 years, where I have gone on to my own mental health journey, I have gone on to seek therapy, and I've had a long course of therapy with my therapist. And the thing that helped, I think, other people also was that I was very vocal about seeking therapy. I was very, from the very beginning, I used to post on my social media, okay, I've started therapy. This is what we are talking about. These are my challenges. This is what I learned from my session today. So I was very vocal about it. And for, to my surprise, there were so many people. I think in the past 2 to 3 years, 10 or 20 people have reached out to me individually, asking me कि, has it really helped you? I also want to go to therapy. मुझे बताओ कि मुझे क्या करना चाहिए? I'm going through this. Do you think I should seek therapy? So I think that is the one thing that has helped so much. And I did not believe that it will help. I just started talking about my own journey, and it just kind of gave other people the liberty to talk about their own problems. And that's one thing that I have learned. The more we talk about it, the more we normalize it, the more we say that, this is completely normal. If you're struggling, you need to seek professional help. The more we talk about it, the more people will understand that, okay, it is completely normal. Whatever I'm going through is completely normal, and I need therapy for it. And there is no stigma to be attached with me going to a therapist. So that is one thing we can do individually also. That if we are doing something and if we are struggling, we talk about it to friends, to family, to other people online, and it helps. It really helps. It has helped so many people when I have talked about it, and I think I will never stop talking about it ever.
Thank you so much. I think that is what you said is correct. Is that it's not a taboo subject, and just as your body needs healing, your mind also needs healing, and there is no nothing wrong in seeking an expert help.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Perfect. So now coming to your future in next 12 months and next 24 months, what is it that we should expect from Monica Singh?
I am actually currently working on a non-fiction project, my first non-fiction book. I'm
Okay.
usually a fiction writer, but I'm
Mhm.
trying to write a non-fiction book about my mental health journey, because I know that this is something I'm very, very passionate about, and I want people to, benefit from it. So I'm trying to write that book. That's going to be my next project, and I know that it is going to help a lot of people. So that's what I'm focused on right now.
Perfect. I
Yes.
think so. Now let's come to the rapid fire round. My first question, since you lived in Mumbai and now you are based in Hyderabad, so Gateway of India or Charminar?
Gateway of
Choose
India,
one.
anytime, anytime,
Per-
anytime.
Perfect. Perfect. Second question. One author you would love to meet.
Oh, I would love to meet Haruki Murakami. He's a Japanese author and he
Mhm.
understands human psyche like no other author I have ever met. I would love to meet him, Murakami, yes.
Perfect. Choose one. Being author or being an editor.
Oh my God, no, no, I cannot say this publicly. Uh, uh, being an editor 90% of the time and being an author 10% of the time.
Okay. Okay. Then the book you loved most.
Okay, the book I love most, the one that I read, you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, there are so many, but there are so many. But for this, I will say my recent favorite is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. It is a fantasy series, the book one of fantasy series, Stormlight Archive. So yes, The Way of Kings.
Perfect. The last question. Monica Singh in 2047 will be. Complete
How
the
many
sentence.
years is that? How many years is that? I
Not
don't even know.
many.
Okay, into
2047.
2047, Monica Singh is going to be a multi-million best-selling author.
Perfect. That's the best thing that can happen to you. So all the best. You have really won the rapid fire round. 10 out of 10 to you. And
Yes.
now let me hand over the proceedings to Sanjay to take it forward.
I think Aparna has raised her hands, and Aparna, you wanted to ask something or you wanted to say something. Please unmute yourself, and if you could say that.
Hi, Monica.
Hi, Aparna.
Monica, though I have read this book and I have known you as a writer, editor, and a wonderful person all throughout, I'm still in that kind of doubt. Did this fantastic cover come to you? Because as you say, it's not easy to have such kind of cover to a topic like this. Okay, so how did this cover come to you, and what was the psychology behind these mirror images? Do you want to say something through this? What is it? Because though you have said a lot in your book, still this bit remains a kind of Da Vinci Code for me. I don't know how how you have interpreted this. So please tell us something about the cover.
Oh, it's okay. So very quickly, because we are running out of time, the cover came about with a joint discussion with my cover designer Soresh Mitra and myself. The central panel is obviously a replica of the legal stamps that we use in our law offices. I really really wanted this, and he was so good with it. So this is that, and the mirror images is one of them shows. Uh, a person behind bars, and the second one shows a kind of a symbol for liberty or freedom from behind bars. So that was the purpose behind the mirror images. Thank you, Aparna.
So that brings us to the end of today's episode. It was really a wonderful episode. Thank you so much, Monica, for joining us this evening. And thank you, Vardhan, for such a nice and wonderful moderation. Thank you, all the viewers who joined us today and those who would be watching the video or the recording. Please do share your reviews on Monica's book, because reviews are what makes an author. It helps the author to evolve. So, once again, thank you all very much. Have a safe Sunday evening. Thank you. Bye bye and namaste.